Hello everyone, this is Vijit, and here at AJSD we have Peer Education Season 5, and we encourage our interns to prepare and present on various topics. Now we have Sophia to share her knowledge about AI fundamentals and beyond. So this will help our interns to improve their communication skills and also visitors like us to revisit on technical topics. At the end of the session, we have a question and answer session, so you can discuss on that. Now I'll ask Sophia to take over.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for joining me today. We are about to explore the world of AI. Whether you're preparing for the AI Associate Certificate or if you're planning to prepare any certificate in data science, I'm sure you'll find this very highly insightful. Before I proceed, before we discuss what is AI, actually, I wanted to talk about why AI because all know AI has started to change the world around us in so many ways, and it's helping businesses to make smarter decisions. Not only businesses, see, it affects our everyday life in so many ways. We have robots for cleaning and even delivering, and we have voice assistants like Alexa, and we also noticed self-driving cars and much more. So, in today's world, understanding AI is highly important whether you are planning a new career, or if you want to level up in your existing career. So, shall we begin?
Yes.
Okay. What is AI? Before we go deep into AI, I just wanted to say what is AI. I have displayed some of the definitions of AI. In simpler terms, AI is nothing but as a technology which allows the computers to perform tasks that will mimic human intelligence. Meaning, if there are certain tasks which can be done only with the human intelligence, now machines are able to perform with AI. John McCarthy, as you know, is the father of AI, and he's the one who coined the term artificial intelligence in the 1950s. Okay, let's explore further. Now, what you're saying are the key components of AI, namely learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and language understanding. So in AI, let's take a look at learning. When does learning happen? See, when the machines are able to study the data and find the patterns and improve their predictions, this is what is called learning. They are able to learn from the data that are being fed. And when you look at reasoning, the AI is able to make decisions also. It is also able to make suggestions and recommendations to us by analyzing the data. And in the aspect of problem solving, AI is able to find solutions for us, and it can tell us what to do. From simple task to complex task, the AI is able to do the root cause analysis and give us the solutions. And regarding perception, the AI is also able to sense around the world, what's in the environment, just like a human. Use by using the cameras and temperature detectors, radars, etc. And when it comes to language understanding, nowadays the AI is able to understand our language, human language, and it is able to interpret as well as respond to us in the language in a meaningful way so that we can understand. Now let's look at these functional areas. Sorry. Sorry.
No problem. You continue.
Okay. Now let's look at these functional areas with the example. Okay, for example, I have taken the Tesla autopilot self-driving car. So the AI that is built in this car, what does it do? It checks the environment and it learns from the past data, and it learns to drive by the rules of the state and where it's being used. And also it is able to reason out, meaning it is able to look for obstacles or any traffic violations, and it is able to stop and then even change lanes and change directions. And it is also able to avoid accidents and find the best route by perceiving the traffic signals and by reading the GPS data. And it is also able to communicate with the passenger in human language. I hope it's clear to you now. Now, what you're saying are the stages of AI. So, when it comes to stages of AI, there are three important stages. The first one is called artificial narrow intelligence. It is also known as the weak AI. In this stage, AI will be able to perform just like a human, and it can do certain tasks in certain areas. It will not be able to do all of the tasks in all of the areas. And when we move to the second stage, it is called as artificial general intelligence, AGI. In this stage, the AI is expected to perform all of the tasks that a human can do. It is supposed to perform just like a human does with this intelligence. We haven't really reached this stage, and we are still quite far away. Now, if we look at the third stage, it is called ASI, also known as artificial superintelligence. In this stage, they're expecting the AI to surpass the human intelligence, to rule. They are even worried or feared about the survival of humanity if AI starts ruling the world. And we all have seen this concept in lots of sci-fi movies. But don't worry, we're quite far away from this stage. Now, can I ask you all one question? In what stage are we currently at? In what stage do you think we are at? In what stage of AI? Can someone tell me?
In AGI,
No, Mart is ANI. We are still in the weak AI stage only. Artificial
okay.
narrow intelligence. We're still in the first stage. Thank you for answering. Let's move to the next topic. Now, what you're looking at are the functional components of AI. These are the core components of AI, namely computer vision, NLP, natural language processing, ML, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, and robotics. We are going to take a look at each of them one by one. Okay. Now, to begin with computer vision, let me tell you what is computer vision first of all. It's nothing but see, AI is able to interpret the visual data, right? So, AI is able to see around the environment using the cameras, it's even able to read the videos, and we can get the signals from the radars and GPS and all. It is able to understand the environment around them just like how we humans see and perceive things. This is called computer vision. And if you look at some of the key applications in this area, is mainly facial recognition. It is mainly used in security aspects, and also we are able to tag people, right, in Facebook or Insta. Like, it is able to recognize the face because of this computer vision ability only. And it is heavily used in self cars because the car has to understand the surroundings so that it can navigate safely, so that the passenger can have a safe ride. Shall we move to the next component? Okay, what you're looking at is NLP. It is also called as natural language processing. What is natural language processing? It is a field of AI that helps the computers to understand and process the human language in a meaningful way. So, when we talk to a machine, it is able to understand what we are trying to say and it answers back to us in a meaningful way. So, how does it do? What it does is it breaks down the language into smaller parts like words and sentences and analyzes the meaning and learns their usage. Now, if you look at some of the areas where it's being used, we all know like Google Translator, we all have used it to translate from one language to another, and how useful it is like when you travel to another country. Otherwise, it would be so difficult. You would feel lost when you don't know the language, right? So now it's so easy. And we also have the virtual assistant to which we can talk and give commands in our language, and it is also used for filtering the spam. And in customer service we have agents, right, who, when you ask questions they respond back. So NLP is the technology that is being used for these. I'm going to move to the next one now. Okay, now we have come to the key component of AI, which is called as machine learning. In short, it is ML. So, what happens in machine learning is the computers are able to learn from the data, and over time they get better. See, we are not going to program them. Okay, you do this task, you do that task. There is no specific programming is done here. Happens is the algorithm will read the data and it will find the patterns in the data and it will come up with a model, and the model will be able to give recommendations, predictions, and it will be able to make decisions for us. So some of the applications I have noted here is like Amazon and Netflix. Like, they recommend movies for us, and Amazon also recommends, like, what to buy and what to shop and all that, because it is able to look at our past experiences, what we liked and what we watched. All the data is being stored and analyzed by these algorithms, and it is able to give recommendations to us. And it is highly useful also in predictive analytics. See, if you take a business where heavily machineries are used, and if they are able to know like when a machine is likely to fail, when they would need to replace the parts, it would be so useful, right? So this is what this machine learning algorithm does. It can predict when it is likely to fail so that you can take care of it and prevent the equipment failure, and you can also prevent the loss in your business. I hope it's clear. Let's look at with the model. If you're curious how machine learning works, this is the model I have picked. See, what happens is the first stage is the training stage. The algorithm is being fed with data. The data is known as training data. So the training data will have, organized data, like, labeled data. Sometimes it will be unorganized also, and sometimes it could be even random data. Okay, so algorithm is exposed to this data. So what this algorithm does is it uses lots of techniques to analyze this data. Like mathematical functions, statistical functions are used to analyze this data, and then it comes up with a model. Okay, and this model, when it is fed with the new data, it will be able to analyze it and comes out with recommendations and predictions for us. And even that results will be, once again it will be evaluated, and then the results also will be fed back into the system so that the algorithm can fine tune itself. So every time this algorithm is faces the data, it keeps fine tuning itself. This goes on in a loop. Okay, so over time the predictions become very accurate. So this is how a machine learning model works. Shall we move to the next topic now?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, before going into the next topic, I also wanted to convey something like, we all write programs, right? Machine learning is also a program. Then, what is the difference between a conventional program and a machine learning program? See, when we write programs, suppose let's imagine you're writing a program, identify a number whether it is odd or even. What would you do? You would check if the number is divisible by 2 or not, right? And then that logic is hard coded into the program. So that based on that logic, it will always throw an output saying it's odd or even. Whereas if you look at the picture, so in traditional program, the input is fed and then the program is fed to the computer and we are getting an output. Whereas in machine learning, the data is fed and the desired output is also fed into the algorithm, and out of which we are getting a model, which is a program. So that is the difference. This is the difference between machine learning and traditional programming. So, this is how a machine learning program is able to predict things for us. Suppose, see, imagine we are feeding house prices in a particular state. Okay, let's imagine there is a 5 BHK and in the state of California, and it could cost maybe $500,000. Okay, and a single bedroom could be costing around 100 to $200,000. When all of these data is being fed to the machine learning algorithm, when someone raises a question, I'm planning to buy a house in this area and I'm looking for a 2 BHK, it can suggest them the price. Okay, what could be the price and how much they should be ready. So this is how machine learning works and how it is able to help people and businesses. Now, yeah, let me move to the next topic. I think it's better clear now. Now we have moved into key topics of AI, deep learning and neural network. Okay, deep learning is also a subset of machine learning. Okay, it is a part of machine learning only. The only difference is in deep learning we're using much more complex algorithms, because deep learning is mostly used for analyzing images and videos and speech. For these, we cannot use a simple ML algorithm. So we need a complex algorithm, and that complex algorithm is known as neural network. Okay. So, so what is neural network then? Okay. So as I just said, neural network is the algorithm that is used in deep learning. So, what does this neural network do, and why is it called neural network? Neural network is actually this is taken. This inspiration is taken from the neurons in our brain. Okay, as we all know, our brain consists of billions of neurons, and they're all interconnected, and they receive input from the environment, and it sends signals to our muscles, and which is why we react. right? When we touch something hard, we immediately pull our hand, right? Because the signals are transmitted from the brain to our muscles. Similarly, the neural network has taken this inspiration, and we have neurons or the nodes that are interconnected in a neural network. So the outer layer will accept the input and the inner layers will process the data, and finally we will get the output. Now let's look at the neural network with the image. So this is one of the models of a neural network. Okay. So as you can see, the input layer, the first layer, the yellow dots are the first layer, input layer. Okay. So these accept the raw data, whatever you feed the images or the video or the voice or even text. And then what happens is, uh, these data will be processed, okay, and the data will all of these nodes, they're called neurons or nodes. They're nothing but mathematical functions and statistical functions. What they do, they analyze and process this data, and it sends it to the next layer. Once again they are processed and the patterns are read, and decisions are made, a model is made, which can predict and give the desired output for us. Finally, we get the output in the output layer. So this is how a neural network works. I have displayed some of the applications of deep learning, where we are using neural network. Mainly, deep learning is used when it comes to images, videos, and voice, because they are very complex. Every pixel has to be read and analyzed, and it has to be understood by the model, so that it gives out the accurate results to us. So it is useful, highly useful in computer vision, and also in the language processing, and in speech recognition, and in healthcare. It can predict what kind of treatment a patient may need by analyzing his clinical history. So this is so high advancement of AI and highly useful. Okay, now shall we move to the next one? Okay, actually, I wanted to list out, like, since we already saw machine learning and deep learning, it could be confusing now. So I wanted to show you the differences. Also, I wanted to tell you where ML is actually used. Okay, ML is mostly used in text-based things, like detecting spam in your emails, and also, like, any it can detect any fraudulent activity that happens in your bank accounts, and also it can do preventive maintenance for you, like when an equipment may fail. And also it can like from the social media posts, from the text, it can detect the emotions. And it is also ML is also used for predicting the stock price. Okay, these are some of the applications. Now let's take a quick look at the differences. What is ML and what is DL, and how and where they are being used. See, when it comes to ML, ML is used for simpler tasks where the data set is small. Deep learning is used when you have large amounts of data and the tasks are quite complex. And the training the ML model is usually faster, whereas deep learning takes time. And in ML, human intervention is also needed, because you have to analyze the output that comes out of the ML. Again, you have to feed it back in so that the algorithm refines itself. Whereas in deep learning, not much of human intervention is needed, and interpreting ML is quite easy, and whereas it's quite complex. Even the output that comes out, interpreting that is quite complex in deep learning. And yeah, as I said before, ML is used for simpler tasks, whereas deep learning is for complex tasks. Now, can I proceed?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Thank you. So this is just a consolidation before we proceed further. So for what we have seen, okay, we have seen what is artificial intelligence. It is the ability for a machine to learn and reason just like a human brain. Okay, that is artificial intelligence. And we also saw what is machine learning. Machine learning are nothing but algorithms that can learn, study the data and learn and predicts the results for us. And deep learning, which is again a subset of machine learning, deep learning uses neural network technology, and it is able to recognize the faces and the voices, and it is useful in quite complex tasks. Now I'm moving on to robotics. So when we are talking about AI, we cannot leave out robotics, right? So it's highly important. So as we all know, what is a robot? Robot is a machine that can do tasks, right? That which are very difficult. I can say even dangerous, and the tasks which need high precision. We can use robots, even for checking the sewages. Even I recently saw somewhere even the hard blocks can be checked using a robot. And now let's take a look at the components of robot. How does it do all this? Okay, so it has mainly three components. The first one is a sensor. The sensor is nothing but the camera and all the sound sensor is there, and also it receives all the signals from the infrared rays, and it understands the surrounding using the sensors. And we also have something called actuator. Actuator is the one that is responsible for movement of a robot. That is how they are able to walk and lift and do things, the physical motion. And the third part is the important part. It is called as control system, and this is the software that decides the action and the decisions. Whatever the robot does, it is controlled by this software. Now let's quickly take a look at the industries where robots are being used. Many of you will be aware of this already. We know that robots are heavily used in industries, for labor intensive and dangerous tasks. They're using robots now, and also this way we can avoid the human errors, and we can produce accurate results. And even in medicinal healthcare industries nowadays, they are using robots for performing surgeries. Complicated surgeries are being performed by robots. And in service industry, we have robots for cleaning, cooking, even delivering. We also saw, right, like during the times of flood and cyclone, they're using the drones to deliver stuff, and robots are also used. So, so these are some of the areas where robots are being used. Can I move to the next topic? Okay, the next topic that
yes.
I have displayed, thank you. The next topic that I have displayed for you is LLM. It is also known as large language models. We already saw NLP, right? Natural language processing. So LLM is nothing but it's a subset of NLP, whereas LLM is used in deep learning because LLM can process a high amount of data. It can understand complex languages and grammars, and it is able to produce content for us. Okay, if you want to, if you ask AI to generate article for you, write a story for you, essay for you. All that is happens because of LLM. And I have listed some of the applications of LLMs in this slide. You can take a look at it, like for content generation, some even for conversations, and you can ask them to summarize, and even code generation they're being used. Let me quickly move to the next topic. Okay, the next topic that I have for you is the generative AI. What is generative AI? It is a type of AI that creates new things for us. Things meaning it can be a text, image, or even music. So, how do they do? How are they able to create new things for us? See, what this algorithm does is it's being fed with lots of data, like even textbooks and pictures, songs, all of that is being fed to the algorithm. So the algorithm analyzes everything and figures out, how to add words, how to make sentences, and also it learns like which colors will go well in a picture, stuff like that. So it learns itself by the data that we provide, and then it starts making new content for us. So when you ask, okay, give me a story with this title, or with this plot, it is able to give you a story. So recently, actually, I experienced similar generative AI where, when I typed a description, I asked the AI to produce an image for me. I mentioned a female child sitting by the river, riverbed, dressed in white. And I also mentioned the accessories, and I also said she should be playing with the ducks and all that. And guess what? The AI came up with a similar, almost it matched my description. So how did it do? By using generative AI. I have listed some of the applications of generative AI, mainly used in content creation, even language translations, and image analysis. Suppose you want to change the styles, change the images, you want to change the background, or you want to play with it. Even you can ask it to create audio and for you, music for you. So all these are possible with generative AI. It can create something new for you based on the data that you have provided. So now that we have seen generative AI, we have to know what is predictive AI, right? So what is predictive AI? This is a type of AI that will help. It can forecast what can happen in the future. How does it do that? Because it will study the past data, the historical data. Okay, it will collect all the information that happened in the past, all the weather. Imagine weather information. Okay, when you supply weather information for past certain years, okay, 5 to 10 years, then the model will be able to predict, depending on the current weather, whether we may face a cyclone, or when tsunami or earthquake, or those things can happen. It is able to forecast what can happen in the future. That is why it is called as predictive AI. It is able to make predictions by studying the historic data, by studying the old data. Now let's look at some of the applications in predictive AI. You might have already guessed these are like, it can forecast the sales for you, and also it can predict like, how whether the customer is likely to buy your products, or he may not like. It can predict the churn rates and the responses, and it is heavily used in healthcare where it can predict the treatment for a person who's critically ill. Also, it can also predict the machine failures. Now I've laid out the differences between generative AI and predictive AI. As we saw, generative AI is nothing but it can generate something new for you. Based on the data, it will make something new what you have not seen before. That is called generative AI. Yeah, what is predictive AI? Looking at the data that you was given, it can predict what can happen in the future. That is called predictive AI. So when you want the AI to predict something, you have to supply accurate historic data so that the predictions are more accurate. Now, when I'm talking about generative AI, I cannot miss this topic because when generative AI is used, there are a lot of concerns a business will have, because sometimes when you're depending on this data that you have provided to the generative AI, it can give you false information and it can fabricate things. It can tell you something is there, which is not there at all. So those things can happen with AI. It is called data hallucination. And also we can face a lot of issues with the data security. Like unauthorized access can happen, theft of data can happen, and also identity theft, user spoofing can happen, and no plagiarism and sustainability, meaning like whatever we do with AI, it should be used in beneficial, like it should be beneficial to the society. It shouldn't harm anyone. So when a business is using AI, they have to keep all this in mind. So, okay, now we've come to the data for AI. See, so far I was talking about AI, so you must have understood by now the key ingredient for AI to work is the data, right? The how if you supply quality data, so the result will be qualified. Okay, so you what input you're giving is going to decide the output that you're going to get from the AI. So it is highly essential for the data to be quality. So how do you ensure, like what are the dimensions are out there to make sure, okay, this is a qualified data, this is not a qualified data. So how do we classify? Okay, there are few terms like completeness, accuracy, consistency, uniqueness, age, and usage. Now let's take a look at them one by one. Okay. So what do I mean by completeness? So there must be some important fields, right? We call it record fields. So those data cannot be missing in records. If those information is missing, then the AI will find it difficult, right? The model will not be accurate. And when it comes to accuracy, that is when you feed data, that should be correct. Okay, it should match with the real world. You cannot feed some imaginary data and expect the AI to give back accurate information. Also, the age of data, okay, it should be up to date. For predictive AI alone, we'll be feeding historic data. And the usage, suppose you have lots of field, let's consider you have lots of field in an object and most of them are not being used at all, then don't use those fields. Okay, you better archive it before you give that data to the AI. And consistency, meaning if you're using a format, okay, DDMMYY or MMDDYY, stick to one format throughout, don't interchange the formats. And uniqueness, now we cannot have duplicate records, we cannot have a data redundancy in the data, so data integrity is highly important. So now I have just listed out some of the complications you may face because of the poor data. See, if you supply poor data, the result that you get from the AI is also going to be poor. So if you read out, like, the biased outcomes, the AI may give you biased outcome. Meaning, if you don't supply diverse data, if you supply biased data, what do I mean by biased data? Suppose let's take an example. Okay, in a company, 1,000 have applied for a particular job, and out of that, let's consider 800 700 males were chosen, and only 150 females were chosen for the job. So if you supply these kind of data and when you give new data and ask AI to predict, the AI will think the males are being hired mostly, so it will give back wrong data for you. So that's why we should not feed AI biased data, so it will predict wrongly, the output also will be biased. So, and if you don't use the data, proper data, what will happen, it will affect your business, because your customers will be getting all wrong predictions and they will lose the trust in you and they will start leaving your business. So this could cost you more. And also, when the data is not proper, training the model, AI model also takes time, and that means you're going to invest more. It's going to cost you more. Okay. So far we saw, like, how important data quality is. Now let's take a quick look at how data is maintained in Salesforce. Like, how does Salesforce ensure that the data is qualified? See, we have various tools for this, such as record fields, field types, validation rules, workflow rules, duplicate management. We also have actually flows and process builders. Using all these tools, we can make sure the data is highly qualified. So now, when I talk about AI, I cannot leave out ethical considerations, right? Ethics is highly important. So, what is ethics? The ethical considerations are nothing but these are the ones that ensures the AI is used responsibly. I mean, it is used responsibly, and it doesn't cause any effect, or doesn't cause harm to any particular sector or people. As I said before, if you feed in biased data, you're going to get back biased output. And so, when you're using AI, you have to make sure that you supply diverse data. Okay, and also the business who are using AI, they have to make sure the predictions, how the algorithms are working, how are they predicting, based on what data they are predicting, those should be transparent so that the consumer understands it. So when it comes to accountability, when something goes wrong with the AI, the consumer should know who's responsible, and the person who's responsible should make sure they fix it. And we know AI uses lots of personal data, so these data should be protected, and the permission should be taken from the users before using the data. And yeah, we know that AI can create a lot of fake information, right? So we should use some regulations so that AI is not being used to create deep fake videos. Okay, it is not being used to show fake information and trick and cheat people. We have to ensure that AI is not being used for all this. So, and safety and security is highly important, especially when you're using AI in a self-driving cars, so that they don't make accidents, or they're not being hijacked, stuff like that. So, ethics are highly important. So far we saw generally, like, for any business, how they have to follow ethics, what are the things that they have to consider before using AI. Now let's look at Salesforce. What are the Salesforce AI principles? How Salesforce makes sure the AI is used in a sensible manner. So, Salesforce has these principles such as responsible, accountable, transparent, empowering, and inclusive. So, if we take a quick look at each of them, what does responsible mean? Salesforce commits to protecting, human rights and security, and also accountability, because Salesforce keeps getting feedback from the customer, and then it goes and make sure so it doesn't happen again, and also it keeps things transparent, so that consumers understand what's going on behind the scene. And also, like, Salesforce believes AI should help people, it should enhance their abilities and make better decisions and improve productivity. And when it comes to inclusive, Salesforce strives to create AI that benefits everyone, okay, representing diverse values. It wants to promote equality and fairness. Now, what you're currently looking at is called as POLP. It is the principle of least privilege of data access. Okay. Uh, what does this principle say? A person should have the very minimum, the least level of access that he just needs to do his task. That is all he should have access to. This way, we can protect the sensitive data and avoid attacks and data leaks. And I have listed out some of the data protection laws that are there around the world. And these protect the consumers' personal information, and there is a heavy fine on the businesses if they are not able to protect the data. For example, we have GDPR that is used in European Union, and there's a fine 20 million euros, actually, if the business is supposed, if they leak the data. And also there's one more called CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act. So they also have regulations, like, to what extent data can be used, and how it needs to be protected. And along with this, I have also displayed a law that is applicable in India. It was introduced 2023. It is called DPDP Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. So this law actually protects the personal data, and there is a heavy fine penalty for violations. We have actually come to the conclusion, and these are some of the sources. I want to thank all of these sources as well. I use these sources to gather the information, and yes, we have come to the conclusions. I'll be happy if you can share your thoughts or if you have any questions. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes,
Yes, Sujata.
Sophia, it was a wonderful
Okay.
Okay.
presentation.
Thank you, sir. I hope it was useful and meaningful. Lots of I know topics. So before I conclude, I want to extend a special thanks to AJST and Digicast for giving me this opportunity and for this experience. And a special thanks to all of you for patiently listening to me. Hopefully, it was insightful.
Yeah, any questions? If not, we can close the call.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you once again.
Thank you.
If you are interested to learn Salesforce, visit AJ Skill Development website. There you can find our course curriculum and you can come to know about the list of courses we are offering. We are offering Salesforce Administrator and Salesforce Development courses. To know about us and the team, you can visit our About Us section. This is an organization we are doing Salesforce training from 2018, and we have trained and guided 2000 plus candidates so far. And if you also want to know about our placement assistance, visit our placement assistance section where you can find the list of people and the category. You can see the list of people who got trained and placed from our side. You can also visit their LinkedIn pages to get to know about our training and also the feedback from the relevant trainees. Okay. And also, if you want to do the course inquiry, click on contact us. You will see the form. You can fill the form and submit the inquiry. Our team will get back to us. Thank you.